So one of the main things when you have a dog like this is the curly coated dogs. Everybody's always worried about the hair and the waves and how to straighten it out. That's solved in blow drying. A lot of people in the breed right now don't do the dog fresh every day. They bathe them on Thursday, come to the show on Friday, brush him out, and call it a show. Okay, well, if you want to be competitive, that means you need to wet him down or shampoo him in the morning and blow him out and get him ready fresh for the show. So what I've done is I've soaked his back so you can see the curls. So first we do is we remove the excess water. So now we have a damp coat, okay? And we start by getting in the skin dry. What we're doing by this action, okay, when hair gets heated up, it's more malleable. So the closer the blow dryer is to the skin and the hair, the hotter the force of the air is, okay? So there's the force of the flow is much hotter and warmer. So what's gonna happen is you come in close, you take the hair, you take it out of the skin and get the base of the hair dry. You want the skin dry because just like with people's hair, if the skin is wet, one, it's gonna cause issues, itchy skin, dry scalp, flaky skin. Also, when that base of the hair is wet, it's gonna kink it up. Just like when you have curly hair and you blow dry it, if you don't get the base of the scalp really dry, it kinks it up. So the first initial thing is to get all that dry, get that out of there, and then we go back through at an angle, 45-degree angle, side to side, the way we want the hair to lay, and we work the waves out, okay? So initially when I did it, you can see that what was very curly is now starting to straighten out. So now what we have done, thank you, what we have done is essentially started straightening out the hair. Of course, on a complete bath and blow dry, you would go the entire dog all the way up and work it through until it was completely dry. The base of the hair is dry. And what happens is because when it's warm, it's very malleable because it's a soft protein. You end up getting it into the shape you want it to go in. Then as you pull the air away, that cooler air sets it. So now the protein goes back to being hardened and it's not as malleable. And that gives you more of a shape. It's a temporary fix, but as you can see from a dog who was curly just a minute ago, now it's just a light wave, which fixes most top lines. Then we start to look at different things. But the first part is you can fix most issues from one end to the other through a good blow dry, a bath and blow dry. And it depends on the products you're using. When the dog is wet, all hair, if you look at it from good straight hair to even real wavy hair, it's kinky. Can we see that in the camera? There's a kink or a slight wave to the coat. When it gets dry, that wave is gone because you've made it straight. So you know if the dog is still too damp, the hair is still curly, it's not completely dry. So you have to get back in there, remove the excess moisture, and then dry until the hair is completely straightened out. Okay, so the blow dry portion is done. A lot of questions have been asked about the amount of tail hair to take off. The biggest thing to know is where the tail is on your dog and how much hair is excessive. Also, the good thing is to look at the outline from profile to see where the tail comes off to end up where you want to be. So the big thing with the tail, for me, the way I do tails, I comb down, I take my curved shears, .45-degree angle lift, straight line cut, cut, cut. Then I come through with my thinning shears. Clean from here, and then on the profile, clean, even shelf. So another question everybody has is, how do you do feet? What do you do about feet? The big thing with feet is not to overdo them. This, again, is still not a heavily groomed breed, so you want to have the feet very, very balanced and clean. 45-degree angle, we go around the toe, removing the hair that sticks out. Then what I do is I push back just underneath the toe and I trim that hair in a straight line, which gives me that nice rounded line. Then we brush up the, we brush up the feet, making sure we spread the toes slightly and getting all that hair inside the toes. If your dog is flat-footed, what you want to do is take up more hair in on each side, because that'll help tighten the toes and make it look like a tighter foot. If your dog has a good foot, what you want to do is at a 45-degree angle, not pressing into the hair, but just lightly on top of the hair for what's sticking out. You just lightly trim and you slowly walk across the foot and then walk back, getting any hair that might be just lightly sticking out. You brush back up. You recheck where you were at. You get the extra loose little hairs. You go flat on the top. You get a 45-degree angle around all the toes. And when you put it down, you have a round, tight cat foot with the hair evenly trimmed, but not excessively done or overly shaped. And you can see the difference here with the foot that needs to be trimmed, the extra hairs, no line, no shape. It's not and how clean and neat this foot is. It also helps to have really nicely ground toenails. One of the biggest controversies out there right now is that there are a couple of dogs who are a little overgroomed. And one of the areas where you see it is that their hock hair is too long, too bushy, and too overdone. This is a working dog, this is a herding dog, And it's a moderate dog as per your standard from how I was educated. So when we do hock hair, the way I like to do it the best is to brush it up, slide it down, and bring it almost to a point with my brushing. I then take my curved shears, I let the foot go natural, and I come at the curve all the way around. I then come to the side of the foot, and I just take it to where it's clean. So we don't leave any excessive amounts of hair building up to make for angulation. Either they have angulation or they don't. The biggest thing is to make sure that you make the hock look nice and neat. A lot of times when dogs have extra hair, it's to make them look like they have a shorter hock or better bone, when in essence, all it is masking it. Now that we're doing the back feet and I have a better angle, I can also show you how to clean up underneath and behind. Again, I was saying 45-degree angle, around the toe, around the toe. You lift the toe up, do the angle here, lift the toe up, do the angle here, come around the toes. Now for the inside, what you want to do is open it up, just lightly with your fingers, and trim, oops, and they're going to be ticklish in there, but trim that hair. That leaves for a clean foot, and when you put it down, there's no excessive hair sticking out or covering the pad. You want to brush straight down here, bend the foot, and just do a light curve, and what that does is cleans that up too. So from the profile, you can see that the hair is neatly trimmed without any excessive hock hair, giving any illusion for something that may or may not be there. Now, to do the feet in the back, it's the same thing. Curved shears. You want to come around and just trim what sticks out straight ahead. Come around on this side and basically give it that nice round cat-shaped foot. Then we brush the hair all up. Thinning shears. We do a 45-degree angle around the toes. And we just take whatever's sticking out. You may have to change the way you hold your shears, the angle so you can reach it better. But the result ends up with a not overly groomed, clean, round foot. And a hock that does not have excessive hair or coat on it. So another question I've had is the ears. Now, when you have a young dog or even an older dog, we have a lot of superfluous hair around the ear opening. We end up with a lot of hair hanging all the way off the back of the ear, through the ear, into the neck. I have been asked to do a video to help show what I do, but also because I don't overgroom or over sculpt. It's a very moderate way of cleaning up and making sure that they still keep the integrity of the breed while making them neat and trim for the show. You know, we don't want them to look like yaks when we go in the ring, but we also don't want them to look like golden retrievers or other sculpted breeds that or even Australian shepherds that are overdone with the trimming and the scissor marks. So I do a very simple ear where I brush the top out first. I use my curved scissors. I see where the ear hair sticks off the ear leather, right at the bell curve, the curve of the ear. So when your ear is folded, there's a curve right through here. So I know where that curve is because I mark it with my finger underneath. I come through and I just take, for evenness, stay, that hair coming across the edge. Nice clean line, and then come underneath at a 45-degree angle so there's a nice clean line on top and a nice clean line underneath. When the ear is folded, you can see that it's a nice clean line. There's no chop marks in through the ear. It's just clean and neat. For the other part of the ear, what I do is I bring the top part out, I comb, I come around the curve lightly, and I go right to the corner of the ear where it folds. So I come there, and I just take this hair up and clean. So now the entire outline of the ear is clean, but not excessive. Okay? And you can see the difference on this young dog because you can see where the scraggly hairs are here. Okay? And the trimmed ear is clean. On the inside, we take the thinning shear and I lightly start here at the ear canal, And I start far away so I'm careful not to cut the ear itself. And I work my way down through here, right at the ear canal. I personally like to take that hair off. And blend it so that the ear canal is open and it breathes more, and that way it's less susceptible to ear infections or other issues. I then brush the hair from the side of the face all the way out. I look at the ear and I look at this line of hair. I come in with a thinning shear and I just lightly clean it up. And now you have a clean ear with a clean face and keeping the integrity of the dog and the coat and not being excessive in any way. I also remove the ear hair, the noose at this point. I come across the back here. And this is sometimes a better place to use a comb. Now this is where you can decide what you want to do. If you have a good coat and it's a nice coat that lays flat, you don't have to touch it, or you can go in, look for the straggly hairs, and lightly, at a 45-degree angle, lightly blend. You can lift the hair off the top of the ears. You can come in and lightly blend. And that, for those purposes, solely for those purposes of just to keep it clean and trim and neat. So all miniature Americans at this point have different coats. We have straight coats, we have curly coats, you have real thick double coats, you have some that have yak-like fur, you have some that have a single coat like this young dog where he has yet to have his undercoat come in yet. So you have to kind of know your dog's hair and what you have. If you're trying to build volume, I would recommend a good bodifying shampoo. I use Pure Paws on our dogs. I use Pure Paws H2O shampoo and conditioner. I use Pure Paws Oatmeal shampoo and conditioner. I use the Pure Paws brightening shampoo. I also like on a regular, semi-regular basis when I do heavy conditioning, I use the strengthening coat conditioner like once a month. I've been asked a couple questions about undercoat hair. I personally never trim the belly hair myself. All my dogs have natural belly hair. If there's anything that's very long or sticky outy, I may go through and pull it, or I may go through and maybe take something that's sticking out at an odd angle with a thinning shear, but I really tend to never trim the belly hair. I don't believe in it. Again, it's a natural breed. I'm trying to keep the integrity of it as per my clients. I do occasionally chalk the legs, but I find that unnecessary when they're in full coat. When they're in full coat, I usually use just like a bodifying mousse, rub it through the leg, and then blow dry it up, just for volume. You know, a judge going over there is not going to mask the fact that the dog may or may not have adequate bone or substance.